Hi everyone, welcome to Colouring with Kay and thank you for joining me today. So in this video I'm attempting a part 1 of a partial colour along of this page in my Wondermorphia colouring book. I think this page is also available in the Geomorphia book by Kerby Rosanes. So yeah, I was really interested in completing this page because I see it as all things Japanese. There's the koi fish, there's the Japanese lanterns. I think there's Mount Fuji, if I'm not wrong, or Fiji, I can't remember correctly. And then the Japanese house, I'm not really sure what it's called. I think it might be a pagoda, but I'm not sure 100%. And then you've got the blossoms, the cherry blossoms, because obviously it's spring coming up, although you won't be able to tell because we've had quite a lot of snow recently in March. So yeah, it's almost spring and the beautiful blossoms are starting to come out along with the daffodils. And I just really wanted to do this page. So you can see that I'm still got my chest infection. I don't know, it just takes forever to overcome it as you get older. I just don't understand why, but anyway, my voice is better than before at least, and it doesn't sound as croaky. But anyway, the first thing I'm doing here is I'm using, which is not something that I do often, I'm using my Ohuhu pastel frost blue colour B030 to do the background. So I've done a base of that colour. I will of course link all the materials I've used in the description below. So now what I'm going to do is something I haven't really tried before, which is using excuse me, watercolour pencils. So I'm using the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer watercolour pencils on top of the alcohol marker. I did try it out at the back of the book because I thought it should work, because obviously alcohol and water-based mediums are not they don't mix with each other, they're immiscible. So I thought that it would work, and I did try it out the back of the book. I was going to do this bit with Prismacolor pencils, do the shading over the alcohol marker, but I liked the look of using the watercolour pencils better because you could get a more softer blend. Well, I could anyway. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm activating or dissolving the pigment with water. So I used a range of shades. I've used 2 specific blends. So the first blend was Indanthrene blue 247, I think, Cobalt blue 143, and Ultramarine 120. And then I used a second blend of 2 colours, which was blue violet 137 and Delft blue 141. So yeah, I used the water brush to dissolve the pigment just around the edges of the sort of smoke cloud and the fish. And then after that, I added a bit more dry pencil for some extra depth to darken areas up where necessary. But yeah, I am so enjoying using my Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer watercolour pencils. To be honest, the museum aquarelles are absolutely gorgeous as well, but the range in them, in terms of the number of pencils, I think there's 76 in the museums, but of course in the Albrecht Durer you've got 120, which is a better range. I've got the super colours as well, which I'm very fortunate to have a good selection of watercolour pencils, so they are beautiful as well. But I've got to say, for the best, if you are looking for a watercolour pencil, you want a really good, really high quality, selection of colours and quality as well in terms of how it dissolves and everything, I would definitely suggest the Albrecht Durer watercolour pencils. They're superb. They are really superb. So yeah, that's what you can see me here doing. And I like this technique, actually. I like using watercolour pencils. I mean, it might not work for all paper, but it certainly worked for this paper. So it's a idea to try it out, I guess, on you know, pages in different books. And of course it would have to be single-sided books due to the alcohol marker bleeding through. So yeah, I used a blend of purple and I used a blend of blue. I was racking my brain thinking, what should I use? You know, first of all, it took me forever to decide what page to colour. And then it took me forever to think about a colour scheme, because, you know, I wanted this to be, you know, I wanted the page to come out really nicely. And of course, purples and blues are some of my favourite colours. So yeah, you can see I'm using the blue blend there. Round the fish, round the koi fish, I mainly used the purple blend. And then I went round the, which I hope I'm saying the right word, is it a pagoda? I'm not sure, but I went round the Japanese house, I'll call it, just in case I'm wrong. So I think I used ultramarine there, and I used some shades of blue as well. Really enjoying using my Derwent push button water brush as well. Since I've bought it, I've got a spare as well, but since I've bought it, I've got to say, it's one of the, you know, best water brushes that I've used. I know the Pentel one is quite good as well. So, and then I did have I think I had the Sakura ones as well. The Sakura, can't remember the full name. So yeah, I did actually darken the area around this Japanese house in a, you know, I added a bit more pigment to darken the areas up. So yeah, I cannot wait for Kerby's new book. I'm just counting down the days. And of course, Melpomene Chatsipani Goto's book as well. So there you go. I've got that on one side. So I've just done the other side there in the same way. I've added the shading. So now it's time to it's time to work on the koi fish themselves. So I'm always nervous doing a partial colour along, because there's so many other colour alongs that are more professional than mine, and, you know. But anyway, I'm doing my best. So here, I just I wanted my koi fish to be black and sort of deep orange red, with a bit of white as well. Very little bit of white. So I've just used the Prismacolors. So that's the Prismacolor black. Obviously, Prismacolors are absolutely gorgeous pencils. So I popped that in and sort of decided, you know, I looked at some reference pictures of these koi fish and sort of tried to put in the patches of black in the shape, rounded shapes, rounded irregular shapes where I could, and then I just darkened it up with a few layers of the Prismacolor black pencil. Of course, I will be listing all of these Prisma pencils I've used. So I've used the Noir or the black PC935. I then used Cadmium Orange Hue 118, the Poppy Red 922. That's probably one of my favourite reds, actually, Poppy Red. Crimson Red 924. The cream 914 and the white 938. So I just kept layering the pencils up, starting with the lightest orange and then working towards the deepest red which I had, which was the crimson red. So I think I show you in this clip how I do one of the fish. And oh yeah, there's at that point we had the you know, the hidden images. So you can see the hamster there on the top of the koi fish head. I was wondering what it was, and then I turned to the back of the book, and in the index it said that it was a hamster. So I don't know what colour I'm going to do the hamster in the end. Probably just like a, you know, pale brown ginger colour, I guess. So that's my poppy red, one of my favourite colours in the Prismas. So I decided to leave a little bit of white on the face of the koi fish. So I mean, this isn't a very long video. I know it's only about just over 20 minutes, I think it works out, but I just thought I'd do it in little bite-sized pieces, because those are the sort of videos that I enjoy doing, because I can't imagine doing a sort of a voiceover on a really long video. I mean, I'd have to put music in, I guess, for some of it. Right, that's my crimson red. And just darkening it up, working from the edges inwards was my usual technique. So yeah, just thinking about what to say. Yeah, I talk about a little bit about videos I'm thinking of doing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always really looking forward to read your comments and your views and stuff. It's great. So thank you so much for taking the time and the effort to actually write a comment. It does actually make such a difference to me. So I think I'm going to do a video on my Japanese book collection, because I've got, you know, fairly decent sized Japanese book collection now. So I was going to do a video on that. Obviously do possibly a part 2 and a part 3 to this page as well. And probably, I guess in April, maybe do a haul of what I purchased in, I think, for my February or March. Because like I said, I am on a reduced, limited spend compared to how I was before. I only purchase things once, mainly once, when I get paid once a month. So you can see I'm doing the fins here. Back to the picture. So I decided to use black, and I think I used the poppy red, and I'm also using the cadmium orange hue as well, and I'm using quite a lot of the cream that you can see there. So basically I'm just doing the fins all the way in a similar fashion. Yeah, it was black and then poppy red and then cream, and then I just went over it to you know, add some depth. I added the cadmium orange hue on the edges of the cream. So I've done both fish now. There you can see. Now I'm going to work on, I do really like how the fish look. I hope you like it as well. I think the black and the red orange is so striking together. Any colour with black. In fact, that might be a new phase that I'm going to go through now, where I'm going to use black and another colour, because it just looks so striking. Just absolutely, I just love the way that black looks with other colours. So anyway, I won't go on about that too much. So now working on the clouds, I was a bit unsure about how to do the clouds, but then I decided upon doing, let me just have a look at my notes. Yeah, I decided on 3 different blends. So the first blend you can see here is where, for the shading bit, you know, where the lines are on the picture, I used the black 935, followed by the dark purple 931. These are all Prismas again. Then the Dahlia purple 1009, the Lilac 956, and then Lavender as my lightest colour, 934. That was one blend of colour that I used on my clouds. And, you know, I did use medium to high pressure on, you know, I smooshed basically the colours together. So that was one blend that you can see that I'm using at the moment. I think that's the Dahlia purple. I was really disappointed as well that the Lilac and the Lavender are no longer going to be in the Prisma sets, because those were two of my favourite colours, and it's such a shame. I know it's probably because they couldn't source the pigments anymore, or for whatever other reason. It's just such a shame though, because they are such beautiful pencils. I didn't manage to actually get any spares of them, but I think I've got one spare from when I purchased them ages ago, and we didn't know that they were going to be discontinued. So you can see that I'm using the Lilac now, and yeah, I'm liking how it's coming out. And then I just used the Lavender to smoosh all the colours together. But yeah, Prismas are just unique, aren't they? They are just unique in how they are. I don't think, in my opinion anyway, I don't think there's any other pencil like a Prisma, and I don't think there's certain pencils that are unique, and I think Prismas are quite unique. You know, every pencil's got its unique qualities, but I think there's nothing like a Prisma. My second blend now is, again, I'm using black to just go over where Kerby's put the lines in the cloud, just to make those my darkest areas. So black 935, followed by the next darkest colour, which was, I think Crimson Red, 924, then Poppy Red 922, and then Cadmium Orange Hue. So I'm pretty much using, you know, the colours that I'd used for the koi fish body. I'm pretty much using those. And then my final blend, I think I used black 935, again, Dioxazine purple hue. I find it difficult to say that word. 132, Indanthrene blue 208, Copenhagen blue 906, Peacock blue 1027. So I did use a final blend. So I used 3 different blends. These are the colours that I've just read out there. The black Dioxazine purple hue, Indanthrene blue, Copenhagen blue and Peacock blue. So I used 3 separate blends of pencils for these clouds. And actually I'm glad I used a little bit of a variety. They are similar, well, the red and orange are not, because they're sort of not similar to the purples and the blues, but I wanted a bit of that colour to sort of continue on from the colours I used in the fish. So basically that's the clouds, and then I think that's it really. That's the where I leave the part 1. I finish showing you me doing the one side of the picture, because it is pretty much symmetrical, isn't it, the picture? Well, there's the Mount Fuji, or Mount Fiji. I do apologise for not saying it correctly. I should have really checked. On one side, and then we've got other mountains. So in the next part, I'm going to hopefully show working on the mountains. And I was racking my brain with, how am I going to do the mountains? What shall I use? What colour shall I use? So I'm possibly going to use Inktense pencils. So I think I'm going to use Inktense pencils for the mountains. And I'm thinking of using turquoise, like a aqua turquoise type colour, and then a really dark, possibly a dark green and a dark blue, I think, on the edges. And then I wanted to add a bit of sparkle of some sort, but Because it's not a page completed by me usually if it's not got some sparkle. I do have to add something. I've got to think about where I'm going to add my sparkle. I know I'll add it around the lanterns, possibly, but I haven't fully decided. But yeah, hopefully in part 2, I will work on the stonework with the ink tints. And I might even do the background to the blossoms, you know, where the blossoms are at the bottom of the page. I would be thrilled if any of you actually followed this partial colour along. That would be just amazing. But you watching my videos is, you know, more than enough. So I do thank you for that. Thank you for your support. So yeah, that's my lightest blue, and that's one side, I think, finished. I left a bit of the fin, but I think I finished that off later. So now I complete the rest of it, and this is what it looks like for end of part 1. I'm quite happy with it. The colours are so intense. So I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of this partial colour along, guys. Thank you so much if you reached the end. And until next time, happy colouring. Let me know what you're colouring in the comments. Take care. Bye.